Let's see. Well, top of the day, YouTube. Guess what? I brought y'all on first today. I'm getting the thing together for Facebook. Sorry. I forgot I copied something else last, which threw me off on my live for Facebook. So while I'm pulling this together, people, give me one quick second while I bring them on. Ah, no. Okay, I just got to do this the long way. I just got to delete it one by one. It's my title. I done pasted a whole paragraph in here in my title. I tried to copy it all. Okay, come on. Aliyah. Peace and blessings. Okay. All right, I got it. All right, beautiful people. Top of the day. I'm gonna put myself together here. This is done before I even start. Okay. All right, y'all. Okay, we're live on both places. I got the title from today's reading. Moses and Aaron are starting to annoy Pharaoh, so that's why I pulled it from. All right, beautiful people. Top of the day, Shayla. Hey, girl. Hey. All right, y'all. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. All right, y'all. It is January the 12th, Great Rising. It is Monday, January the 18th, 2021. We are on day 54 of year 3 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets, and of the 3-year consecutive day count, day 723. All right, y'all. So today we're picking a story back up in Exodus with chapter 34. We're going to read 35 and also 36. And actually, tomorrow will be our last day in Exodus. Then we'll go right on over to Leviticus. And we're just going to keep trekking along right in the Legends of the Jews. So let's go ahead and get started and get the shimmer done. Pull this up. All right. Okay. All right, y'all. Hear, therefore, Israel, and observe to do it, that it may be well with you, that you may increase mightily, as Yahuwah, the God of our fathers, has promised us in the land that flows with milk and honey. Hear, O Israel, Yahuwah, our God, He is one God, and you shall love Yahuwah, your God, with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I command you this day shall be in your heart. And you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. And you shall write them upon the posts of your house and on the gates. And who commanded us to do all these statutes, to fear you, who are our God, for our good always, that He might preserve us alive as it is this day. It shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all these commandments before you, who are our God, as He has commanded us. So let's go ahead and get started with the reading. Oh, for those that are on Facebook, I tagged y'all in it too. I noticed yesterday, and also those listening on Facebook, greetings. I'm gonna thank you. The audio for the Book of Remembrance by Anne Grandmother's, it doesn't record the entire thing. I just realized when I opened it up, because I finished listening to it, I said, wait a minute, I know when I had the book, so I went and checked, and there are a few chapters missing. I would recommend that you get it. Why? Because here in this, in those chapters that are missing, in those chapters that are missing from the audio, it goes into detail about the angels and their description and how Yahuwah has given them to us and how we're literally supposed to be interacting with them here to help us fulfill our purpose here. And also, when you hear the word the Deca Detroit, I think I pronounced that wrong, but anyway, it's talking about the fallen angels, or Enoch called them the bullies, or the fallen angels, the Deca Dochoi. Those are the demons or the fallen angels, or like I said, Enoch calls them the bullies, the ones who fail. And it tells you why you need to stay away from them and why you don't need to be engaging with them to help you to do anything. Like King Solomon, although Yahuwah had given him dominion over a lot of things, he also used the dark powers or the decochoy to help him with different things. And that's a no-no. We're not to do that. That's what Satan worshipers do. They actually employ the powers of the fallen ones. It explains all of that. And it tells us why we need to stay away from them, exactly who they are. Like the book of Enoch, it's actually like a more descriptive detail of Enoch chapter 15, when it tells you who the fallen angels are and how their spirits roam about here. That goes into deeper detail of Enoch chapter 15. I'm telling y'all got to get this. Y'all got to get the hardback, because the audio does not give these last chapters. I don't know if it was on purpose or if they just haven't had the time to finish recording, but it's not there. But it's here. Get the hardback. You can go back to yesterday's video in the description box or wherever and click on the link, go to Amazon and get the hardback if you are able to, because I'm not sure that there's an online version where you can read the rest of these chapters, y'all. You really need to read that. But not only does it give the description of that, but it teaches you how we're to interact with the angels, like the holy angels of Yahuwah. If we read through the Bible, how they was always coming like to give visions and give interpretation and understanding, like that's a part that we've been missing. That's kind of been cut off from the masses of us while we've been in captivity, but that's there. And it teaches us that literally that should be a common thing amongst Yahuwah's people. Like we should be constantly interacting as Yahuwah is giving out commands and stuff, as the angels and stuff that is going to help us, along with your spirit on the inside of us. Guys, it was blowing my mind. Like I think like once I'm gonna just see, we may start after we're done with the Legends of the Jews, depending on where we're at that time and what Yah says, we may start reading this, right? Or the original, but there's like 500 some pages. This one here is 394 pages. But I just wanted to bring that up. So I actually put pictures and I tagged y'all in it on Facebook about the intro, so you can actually see all that you are missing that's not in the video. I gave you the intro, which also describes like some of the Hebrew names. It tells you what those are and everything. And from the table of contents, you can see just how much is not recorded in the audio, like the last few chapters, and we need that part. So I just wanted to bring that up for you guys. It is the Book of Remembrance. It's a portion of the bigger Book of Remembrance, but this is the portion of our ancient grandmothers. And it talks about, I'm sure, Methuselah, but in the audio, before his name was changed to Methuselah, it was, I forget it. It's similar, but it's something Mozart or something like that. But anyway, that's still Methuselah. Methuselah got off track, y'all. Methuselah got off track, and it made some things make sense, so, but it's really, really good. So I just want to tell y'all that if you didn't know, you have to get it, because the stuff that you really, really need that we can put into practice now, it's there. It's there. Okay. So let's go ahead over here to the reading for today, Exodus chapter 34. And I know YouTube, I wish I even checked yesterday. I wish I could have posted it for you guys. I may just put like the link, because I make the morning Facebook posts. I make them available for the public to see. And I'll just put the link because I have to have like 1,000 subscribers to even have the community section pop up where I can actually put the pictures in there for y'all to see. But I ain't nowhere close to that. So until it grows, and I don't know how long that's gonna be. I'm thinking even about maybe having like some type of website that I post in the daily videos where all the notes from the stuff along with the video and pictures and everything, like a common place where everybody will be able to access it, so it's just some things I can't do on YouTube at this moment, but I want y'all to see it. So I'm thinking about it, seeing what I need to do. That way everybody can get the information. But until then, today I'll just put the link for Facebook. So after the video is over, you can actually go to the Facebook page, the public page where I posted it, and you can also see the pictures that I posted with the table of contents and how much is missing from the audio. So, all right, y'all. All right, Exodus chapter 34. Then Yahuwah said to Moses, chisel out 2 stone tablets like the first ones. I will write on them the same words that were on the tablets you smashed. Be ready in the morning to climb up Mount Sinai and present yourself to me on the top of the mountain. No one else may come with you. In fact, no one is to appear anywhere on the mountain. Do not even let the flocks or herds graze near the mountain. So Moses chiseled out 2 tablets of stone like the first ones. Early in the morning, he climbed Mount Sinai as Yahuwah had commanded him, and he carried the 2 stone tablets in his hand. Then Yahuwah came down in a cloud and stood there with him, and he called out his own name, Yahuwah. Yahuwah passed in front of Moses, calling out, Yahuwah, the Lord, the God of compassion and mercy. I am slow to anger and filled with unfailing love and faithfulness. I lavish unfailing love to 1,000 generations. I forgive iniquity, rebellion, and sin. I do not excuse the guilty. I lay the sins of the parents upon their children and grandchildren. The entire family is affected, even the children in the 3rd and 4th generations. Moses immediately threw himself to the ground and worshiped, and he said, Oh Yah, if it is true that I have found favor with you, then please travel with us. Yes, this is a stubborn and rebellious people, but please forgive our iniquity and our sins. Claim us as your own special possession. Yahuwah replied, Listen, I'm making a covenant with you in the presence of all your people. I will perform miracles that I have never performed anywhere in all the earth or in any other nation. And all the people around you will see the power of Yahuwah, the awesome power I will display for you. But listen carefully to everything I command you today. Then I will go ahead of you and drive out the Amorites, Canaanites, Hittites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. Be very careful never to make a treaty with the people who lived in the land where you are going. If you do, you will follow their evil ways and be trapped. Instead, you must break down their pagan altars, smash their sacred pillars, and cut down their Asherah poles. You must worship no other gods, for Yahuwah, whose very name is jealous, is a God who is jealous about his relationship with you. You must not make a treaty of any kind with the people living in the land. They lust after their gods, offering sacrifices to them. Let me tell you something. Now I understand. Although Yahuwah says, I am the only God, the gods that the nations were worshiping, they were deaf and dumb. Clearly, we can see some of the idols, but we wonder why a lot of them wouldn't turn, right? Is because they were experiencing a little bit of power. I'll say power like this. Why? Because I understand now that the dark forces, or as the Book of Remembrance calls them, the Decadarch. Hold on, I'm gonna get this word right. Let me look real quick. The Decadarchoi. I think I pronounced that right. Hold on, I highlighted it up, y'all. Hold on. Because it's gonna pluck my nerves if I can't pronounce this word right. The Decadarchoi. Yeah. Okay. The Decadarchoi. Remember, the Decadarchoi are enemies of Anokheset. Anoki. So in the book, when you hear the word Anokis, that's referring to Yahuwah. Remember, Anokis means in Hebrew, and you can actually look it up in the Strongs, and the book, it actually gives you the Hebrew Strongs, the reference for it and how it's broken down. Anno keys. Anno means I am, and keys is loving kindness. So whenever you see in the Book of Remembrance, so you hear it if you're listening to it, where it says anno keys, remember it's talking about Yahuwah, and the translation of anno keys is I am loving kindness. Okay, yeah, the Decadar Choi, that's what it's called. The Decadar Choi is the fallen ones, or the demon spirits, y'all, the dark powers. Listen, I just read this little portion. I'm gonna tell you why. This is what they were experiencing when people, Satan worshipers and stuff, or they worshiping other gods. It's the Decadar Choi, or the fallen spirits that they are interacting with. And this right here says, remember, the Decadar Choi are the enemies of Anokis, or Yahuwah, and they spout obscenities at him. And how could we love and clean and be sustained by his enemies, and be found to walk also with him in this life, or in the life to come? Meaning, light and darkness cannot, we don't mix. How can we be found to be operating with demons and still walk with Yah? It's impossible, right? There must be a separation. Listen, it says, and these fallen bullies are not to be allowed place in your life, nor are they to be allowed to teach or influence your little ones. So that's what's happening with people who are interacting and having seances and devil worshiping and stuff, or worshiping other gods, and things that we see. Oh, like some of these miracles. Remember, I think last year I told y'all about people who was worshiping, like in South America, the Holy Grandfather, and they have like different idols set up, and it seemed to be like miracles, like tears flowing from it, and milk flowing from different things. All these things, Yahuwah don't do miracles like that willy-nilly. They're interacting with the Decadar Choi, or demon spirits, and Yahuwah said, do not do that, right? And these what the other nations are doing. They're interacting with demon spirits, and that power that they're saying, even some of the magic that Egypt was trying to go toe-to-toe with Moses and Aaron as Yahuwah was about to deliver his people. That's what's happening. That's how those powers of magic, or the help from the dark side, that's what's going on behind the scenes, y'all. And I understood that so clearly last night as I was reading through the part that's not recorded, that gives so much understanding on a lot of these things that we read. Oh my gosh, I'm telling y'all, please get that book if you can. All right, listen. You must not make a treaty of any kind with the people living in the land. They lust after their gods, offering sacrifices to them. They will invite you to join them in their sacrificial meals, and you will go with them. Then you will accept their daughters who sacrifice to other gods, or it's to demons. That's what I just explained. Who sacrifice to other gods as wives for your sons. They will seduce your sons to commit adultery against me by worshiping other gods. You must not make any gods of molten metal for yourselves. Yes, baby girl.
Dad said we get some.
No, Dad did not say that. Dad did not say you can get ice cream first thing in the morning.
That's a wait.
Yes, that I believe that Dad said wait. Okay, going back upstairs. We'll get some pants. You must celebrate the festival of unleavened bread. For 7 days you must eat. The bread you must eat must be made without yeast, just as I commanded you. Celebrate this festival annually at the appointed time in early spring, in the month of Abib, for that is the anniversary of your departure from Egypt. The firstborn of every animal belongs to me, including the firstborn males. From your herds of cattle and your flocks of sheep and goats, the firstborn donkey must be brought back from Yahuwah by presenting a lamb or young goat in its place. But if you do not buy it back, you must break its neck. However, you must buy back every firstborn son. No one may appear before me without an offering. You have 6 days each week for your ordinary work, but on the seventh day, you must stop working, even during the seasons of plowing and harvest. You must celebrate the festival of harvest with the first crop of the wheat harvest, and celebrate the festival of the final harvest at the end of the harvest season. 3 times each year, every man in Israel must appear before the sovereign Lord, the God of Israel. I will drive out the other nations ahead of you and in your territory, so no one will covet and conquer your land while you appear before Yahuwah, your God, 3 times each year. You must not offer the blood of my sacrificial offerings together with any baked goods containing yeast, and none of the meat of the Passover sacrifice may be kept over until the next morning. As you harvest your crops, bring the very best of the harvest to the house of Yahuwah your God. You must not cook a young goat in its mother's milk. Then Yahuwah said to Moses, write down all these instructions, for they represent the terms of the covenant I am making with you and with Israel. Moses remained there on a mountain with Yahuwah 40 days and 40 nights. Remember, this is the second time he was on the mountain for 40 days and 40 nights. And because he had just came down from the first 40 days and he broke the tablets and he had to go back up and get them again. And that in all that time, he ate no bread and drank no water. And this, when we get to this part in the Legends of the Jews, it goes into detail and it tells you how Yahuwah sustained him throughout this time. Y'all, it's so good. Like, this is supposed to be a part of our everyday waking part of our life. Oh my gosh, that's what the Book of Remembrance is teaching me. It's giving me faith. Like, yes, Father, yes and amen. We're gonna do this. Let's go ahead. This needs to be like a normal thing in my life and in my children's life. And I'm so grateful to the Most Holy that he's revealing all these things to us so that my children can grow in this. And oh my gosh, and I believe it's a part of the last captivity being over as Yahuwah is restoring his people, right? He's restoring a lot of this, what should be common knowledge amongst his people, but we didn't know because our eyes had been closed. And we had to serve out the sentence that we got put in because of our own disobedience, our ancestors' disobedience, right? Now, it's getting so exciting. I'm so excited about this. Moses remained there on the mountain with Yahuwah 40 days and 40 nights. And all that time, he ate no bread and drank no water. And Yahuwah wrote the terms of the covenant, the 10 commandments, on the stone tablets. When Moses came down Mount Sinai carrying the 2 stone tablets inscribed with the terms of the covenant, he wasn't aware that his face had become radiant because he had spoken to Yahuwah. So when Aaron and the people of Israel saw the radiance of Moses' face, they were afraid to come near him. But Moses called out to them and asked Aaron and all the leaders of the community to come over, and he talked with them. Then all the people of Israel approached him, and Moses gave them all the instructions that Yahuwah had given him on Mount Sinai. When Moses finished speaking with them, he covered his face with a veil. But whenever he went into the tent of the meeting to speak with Yahuwah, he would remove the veil until he came out again. And he would give the people whatever instructions Yahuwah had given him, and the people of Israel would see the radiant glow of his face. So he would put the veil over his face until he returned to speak with Yahuwah. All right, y'all. Exodus chapter 35. Then Moses called together the whole community of Israel and told them, these are the instructions Yahuwah has commanded you to follow. You have 6 days each week for your ordinary work, but the 7th day must be a Sabbath of complete rest, a holy day dedicated to Yahuwah. Anyone who works on that day must be put to death. You must not even light a fire in any of your homes on the Sabbath. Then Moses said to the whole community of Israel, this is what Yahuwah has commanded. Take a sacred offering for Yahuwah. Let those with generous hearts present the following gifts to him: gold, silver, and bronze, blue, purple, and scarlet thread, fine linen and goat hair for cloth, tanned ram skins and fine goat skin leather, acacia wood, olive oil for the lamps, spices for the anointing oil, and the fragrant and the priest's chest piece. Come, all you who are gifted craftsmen, construct everything that Yahuwah has commanded: the tabernacle and its sacred tent coverings, clasps, frames, crossbars, and bases, the ark and its carrying poles, the ark's cover, the place of atonement, the inner curtain to shield the ark, the table, its carrying poles, and all its utensils, the bread of the presence, for light, the lampstand and its accessories, the lamp cups, and the olive oil for lighting, the incense altar and its carrying poles, the anointing oil and fragrant incense, the curtain for the entrance of the tabernacle, the altar of burnt offering, the bronze grating of the altar and its carrying poles and utensils, the wash basin with its stand, the curtains for the walls of the courtyard, the posts and their bases, the curtain for the entrance to the courtyard, the tent pegs of the tabernacle and the courtyard and their ropes, the beautifully stitched garments for the priest to wear while ministering in the holy place, the sacred garments for Aaron the priest, and the garments for his sons to wear as they minister as priests. So the whole community of Israel left Moses and returned to their tents. All those whose hearts were stirred and whose spirits were moved came and brought their sacred offerings to Yahuwah. They brought all the material needed for the tabernacle, for the performance of its rituals, and for the sacred garments. Both men and women came, all whose hearts were willing. They brought to Yahuwah their offerings of gold, brooches, earrings, rings from their fingers, and necklaces. They presented gold objects of every kind as a special offering to Yahuwah. All those who owned the following items willingly bought them: blue, purple, and scarlet thread, fine linen and goat hair for cloth, and tanned ram skins and fine goat skin leather. All who had silver and bronze objects gave them as a sacred offering to Yahuwah, and those who had acacia wood brought it for the use in the project. All the women who were skilled in sewing and spinning prepared blue, purple, and scarlet thread and fine linen cloth. All the women who were willing to use their skills to spin the goat hair into yarn. The leaders bore onyx stones and the special gemstones to be set in the ephod and the priest's chest piece. They also brought spices and olive oil for the light, the anointing oil, and the fragrant incense. So the people of Israel, every man and woman who was eager to help in the work of Yahuwah, had given them through Moses, bought their gifts, and gave them freely to Yahuwah. Then Moses told the people of Israel, Yahuwah has specifically chosen Bezalel, the son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah. Yahuwah has filled Bezalel with the spirit of Yahuwah, giving him great wisdom, ability, and expertise in all kinds of crafts. He is a master craftsman, expert in working with gold, silver, and bronze. He is skilled in engraving and mounting gemstones and in carving wood. He is a master at every craft. And Yahuwah has given both him and Oholiab, the son of Ahishamach of the tribe of Dan, the ability to teach their skills to others. Yahuwah has given them special skills as engravers, designers, embroiderers in blue, purple, and scarlet thread on fine linen cloth, and weavers. They excel as craftsmen and as designers. Okay, we're about to read the last chapter of Exodus, Exodus chapter 36, and then we're going to hop right over to the legends of the Jews. Yahuwah has gifted Bezalel, Oholiab, and the other skilled craftsmen with wisdom and ability to perform any task involved in building the sanctuary. Let them construct and furnish the tabernacle just as Yahuwah has commanded. So Moses summoned Bezalel and Oholiab and all the others who were specially gifted by Yahuwah and who were eager to get to work. Moses gave them the materials donated by the people of Israel as sacred offerings for the completion of the sanctuary. But the people continued to bring additional gifts each morning. Finally, the craftsmen who were working on the sanctuary left their work. They went to Moses and reported, the people have given more than enough materials to complete the job Yahuwah has commanded us to do. So Moses gave the command, and this message was sent throughout the camp. Men and women, don't prepare any more gifts for the sanctuary. We have enough. So the people stopped bringing their sacred offerings. Their contributions were more than enough to complete the whole project. The skilled craftsmen made 10 curtains of finely woven linen for the tabernacle. Then Bezalel decorated the curtains with blue, purple, and scarlet thread and with skillfully embroidered cherubim. All 10 curtains were exactly the same size, 42 feet long and 6 feet wide. All right, let me see, babe. Y'all be safe.
Call me when she finishes.
Okay. 5 of these curtains were joined together to make one long curtain, and the other 5 were joined to make a second long curtain. He made 50 loops of blue yarn and put them along the edge of the last curtain in each set. The 50 loops along the edge of one curtain matched the 50 loops along the edge of the other curtain. Then he made 50 gold clasps and fastened the long curtains together with the clasps. In this way, the tabernacle was made of one continuous piece. He made 11 curtains of goat hair cloth to serve as a tent covering for the tabernacle. These 11 curtains were all exactly the same size, 45 feet long and 6 feet wide. Bezalel joined 5 of these curtains together to make one long curtain, and the other 6 were joined to make a second long curtain. He made 50 loops for the edge of each large curtain. He also made 50 bronze clasps to fasten the long curtains together. In this way, the tent covering was made of one continuous piece. He completed the tent covering with a layer of tanned ram skins and a layer of fine goat skin leather. For the framework of the tabernacle, Bezalel constructed frames of acacia wood. Each frame was 15 feet high and 27 inches wide, with 2 pegs underneath each frame. All the frames were identical. He made 20 of these frames to support the curtains on the south side of the tabernacle. He made 40 silver bases, 2 bases under each frame, with the pegs fitting securely in the bases. For the north side of the tabernacle, he made another 20 frames, with their 40 silver bases, 2 bases under each frame. He made 6 frames for the rear, the west side of the tabernacle, along with 2 additional frames to reinforce the rear corners of the tabernacle. These corner frames were matched at the bottom and firmly attached at the top with a single ring, forming a single corner unit. Both of the corner units were made in the same way. So there were 8 frames at the rear of the tabernacle, set in 16 silver bases, 2 bases under each frame. Then he made crossbars of acacia wood to link the frames, 5 crossbars for the north side of the tabernacle and 5 for the south side. He also made 5 crossbars for the rear of the tabernacle, which faced west. He made the middle crossbar to attach halfway up the frames, and it ran all the way from one end of the tabernacle to the other. He overlaid the frames with gold and made gold rings to hold the crossbars. Then he overlaid the crossbars with gold as well. For the inside of the tabernacle, Bezalel made a special curtain of finely woven linen. He decorated it with blue, purple, and scarlet thread and with skillfully embroidered cherubim. For the curtain, he made 4 posts of acacia wood and 4 gold hooks. He overlaid the posts with gold and set them in 4 silver bases. Then he made another curtain for the entrance to the sacred tent. He made it of finely woven linen and embroidered it with exquisite designs using blue, purple, and scarlet thread. This curtain was hung on gold hooks attached to 5 posts. The posts with their decorated tops and hooks were overlaid with gold, and the 5 bases were cast from bronze. All right, beautiful people. All right, so that is our reading from Exodus today. That is Exodus 34, 35, and 36. So let me minimize this and bring this all the way up. Okay. All right. So we're hopping over to the Legends of the Jews, picking up where we left off yesterday on page 236. If you have the big book and if you have the smaller book, the title of it is The Plagues Brought Through Moses. And remember, yesterday we left off with all the plagues. We read all the plagues that Yahuwah used Aaron to bring, right? Okay, so he brought forth the first 3. So now it's Moses' turn. And Yahuwah said to Moses, because the plagues that he used Aaron to bring forth had to do with the element of water, Yahuwah said he didn't want Moses doing that because the water was actually his savior or his protector. When his mother at his birth put him into the water protected him from being drowned. He said, so because of this, he didn't want Moses using the water for the plagues, so he didn't want Moses to strike what had helped him keep his life in the very beginning, if that makes sense. I thought that was pretty friggin' awesome. So now Moses is dealing with the plagues that deal with the element of fire and air. Okay, I'm sorry. Oh, I want to cut y'all off. Okay, my mouse. I said I was almost about to knock that off of there. Let me see this right here. Okay. Okay. The plagues brought through Moses. The fourth plague was also announced to the king early in the morning by the river's brink. Pharaoh went thither regularly, for he was one of the magi or the magicians who need water for their enchantments. Moses' daily morning visits were becoming annoying to him when he left his house early in the hope of circumventing his monitor. But Yahuwah, who knows the thoughts of man, sent Moses to Pharaoh at that very moment of his going forth. The warning of the plague that was imminent, not having had any effect upon Pharaoh. Hold on. Okay. The warning of the plague that was imminent, not having had any effect upon Pharaoh, Yahuwah sent the fourth plague upon Egypt. A mixed horde of wild animals, lions, bears, wolves, and panthers, and so many birds of prey of different kinds that the light of the sun and moon was darkened as they circled through the air. These beasts came upon the Egyptians as punishment for desiring to force the seed of Abraham to amalgamate with the other nations. Yahuwah retaliated by bringing a mixture upon them that cost them their life. As Pharaoh had been the first of the Egyptians to lay evil plans against the children of Israel. Boom, let me tell y'all something. I just thought about it. They're doing the same thing. They have been doing the same thing. When they took us into captivity, our ancestors into captivity, that's what you call rape, right? It said Yahuwah did this particular plague because they forced the Hebrews to conceive or to amalgamate with the other nations and to mix with the other nations. Think about it. We got all our people have been mixed with different nations, even the 10 lost tribes or the copper colored tribes who they found here, our cousins. They had been here. And why they had been here so long, remember, you'll find out that they weren't just living free. They were actually slaves to the native peoples, to the actual indigenous peoples who were here. And they began to marry amongst them. And some of them, there's quite a few channels or people who their history have been kept through the years, and they know that they're descendants of Jacob, one of the tribes, and they tell you how when they were brought here that their family indeed were slaves to the indigenous peoples here. But some of them actually began to marry some of the slaves, and i.e. some of them weren't so much slaves anymore. They were recognized, but they weren't recognized, but they too were slaves here. Okay, so, and let me just read that again. The whole point of me saying that is because that we were being mixed with all the nations wherever we were scattered to. Listen, the warning of the plague that was imminent, not having had any effect upon Pharaoh, Yahuwah sent the fourth plague upon Egypt, a mixed horde of wild animals, lions, bears, wolves, and panthers, and so many birds of prey of different kinds that the light of the sun and the moon was darkened as they circled through the air. These beasts came upon the Egyptians as a punishment for desiring to force the seed of Abraham. For desiring to force the seed of Abraham to amalgamate with the other nations. Yahuwah retaliated by bringing a mixture upon them that cost them their life. Measure for measure, remember? Yahuwah metes out punishment measure for measure. What you did gonna be done to you. As Pharaoh had been the first of the Egyptians to lay evil plans against the children of Israel, so he was the first upon whom descended punishment. Into his house, the mixed horde of beasts came first of all, and then into the houses of the rest of the Egyptians. Goshen, the land inhabited by the Israelites, was spared entirely, for Yahuwah put a division between the two peoples. It is true, the Israelites had committed sins enough to deserve punishment, but the Holy One, blessed be He, permitted the Egyptians to act as a ransom for Israel. Again, Pharaoh expressed his willingness to let the children of Israel sacrifice unto their God, but they were to stay in the land to do it and not go outside into the wilderness. Moses pointed out to Pharaoh how unbecoming it would be for the Israelites to sacrifice before the very eyes of his people the animals that the Egyptians worshiped as gods. Then Pharaoh consented to let them go beyond the borders of his land. Only they were not to go very far, and Moses, to lead him, asked for a 3 days journey into the wilderness. But again, when Moses had entreated Yahuwah on Pharaoh's behalf, and the horde of wild beasts had vanished, the king hardened his heart and did not let the people go. The cessation of the fourth plague was as miraculous as the plague itself. The very animals that had been slain by the Egyptians in self-defense returned to life and departed from the land with the rest. This was ordained to prevent the wicked oppressors from profiting by the punishment, even so much as the value of the hides and the flesh of the dead animals. It had not been so with the useless frogs. They had died on the spot, and their carcasses had remained where they fell. The fifth plague inflicted by Yahuwah upon the Egyptians was a grievous pestilence, which mowed down the cattle and beasts chiefly, yet it did not spare men altogether. This pestilence was a distinct plague, but it also accompanied all the other plagues, and the death of many Egyptians was due to it. The Israelites again came off unscathed. Indeed, if an Israelite had a just claim upon a beast held by an Egyptian, it too was spared, and the same good fortune waited upon such cattle as was the common property of Israelites and Egyptians. The sixth plague, the plague of boils, was produced by Moses and Aaron together in a miraculous way. Each took a handful of ashes of the furnace, and Moses held the contents of the two heaps in the hollow of his hand and sprinkled the ashes tipped toward the heaven, and it flew so high that it reached the divine throne. Returning earthward, it scattered over the whole land of Egypt a space equal to 400 square parasangs. The small dust of the ashes produced leprosy upon the skin of the Egyptians, and blains of a peculiar kind, soft within and dry on top. The first five plagues the magicians had tried to imitate, and partly they had succeeded. But in the sixth plague, they could not stand before Moses, and thenceforth they gave up the attempt to do as he did. Their craft had all along been harmful to themselves. Although they could produce the plagues, they could not imitate Moses in causing them to disappear. They would put their hands into their bosoms and draw them out white with leprosy, exactly like Moses, but their flesh remained leprous until the day of their death. And the same happened with all the other plagues that they imitated unto their dying day. They were afflicted with the ills they produced.
Mom, I didn't get to get any.
Yeah, Dad didn't even buy that for y'all. Dad bought those for himself.
Y'all do something again when I know me. I didn't really get to get any. Mom.
Isaiah, go upstairs with that crying. Don't make me get up. I'm gonna pop your butt. Go on upstairs. Look. Go. You stop up them stairs, I promise you I'm gonna come behind you, boy. Okay, y'all, I'm sorry. I thought I was gonna have to pause real quick and go behind him. Ooh, he be trying my gangster. Oh, that Isaiah, I tell you. Okay. They will put their hands into their bosoms and draw them out white with leprosy, exactly like Moses, but their flesh remained leprous until the day of their death. And the same happened with all the other plagues that they imitated. Until their dying day, they were afflicted with the ills they produce. Love to stop. Dana, girl, whew. As Pharaoh had wittingly hardened his heart with each of the first 5 plagues and refused to turn from his sinful purpose, Yahuwah punished him thereafter in such wise that he could not mend his ways if he would. Yahuwah said, even though he should desire to do penance now, I will harden his heart until he pays off his whole debt. Pharaoh had observed that whenever he walked on the brink of the Nile, Moses would intercept him. He like, oh boy, what do you want now? He therefore gave up his morning walk. He said, I'm just gonna stop going out here. I'm sick of seeing Moses' face. Gigi does it too. Girl, like sis, girl, I be had to catch him. I'm like, look, don't try me. He therefore gave up his morning walk, but Yahuwah bade Moses seek the king in his palace in the early mornings of the day and urge him to repent of his evil ways. Therefore Moses spake to him as follows in the name of Yahuwah. O thou villain, thou thinkest that I cannot destroy thee from the world? Consider it, had I desired it, instead of smiting the cattle, I might have smitten thee and thy people with the pestilence, and thou wouldst have been cut off from the earth. I inflicted the plague only in such a degree as was necessary to show thee my power, and that my name may be declared throughout all the earth. Boy, let me tell you, who is so wise. Remember I told you, even in his judgment, it's mercy because he's trying to get our attention. He said, I showed you just enough power to let you know how great I am, because I could have put this pestilence upon you and not your cattle, and you would have been done away with. I could have did that if I wanted to, but I wanted you to repent, right? Think about all this stuff now, how people, it seemed like it go from bad to worse for them. Consider your ways. Consider your ways. Yahuwah is trying to get your attention. And all the time, it ain't the devil like some people suppose. It's Yahuwah trying to get your attention, right? He wants you to repent so that he can bless you. Yahuwah said he takes no delight in punishing the wicked, right? He simply wants you to repent so that he can bless you, his children, and even those who aren't called by his name. He wants to get your attention. He said, I am loving kindness. I'm gracious and merciful to all, right? And this is all that was going on in Egypt. Listen, consider, if I had desired it, instead of smiting the cattle, I might have smitten thee and thy people with the pestilence, and thou wouldst have been cut off from the earth. I inflicted the plague only in such a degree as was necessary to show thee my power, and that my name may be declared throughout all the earth. But thou dost not leave off treading my people underfoot. Behold, tomorrow when the sun passes this point, whereat Moses made a stroke upon the wall, I will cause a very grievous hail to pour down, such as will be only once more when I annihilate Gog with hail, fire, and brimstone. Ooh, that's coming. That ain't happened yet, y'all. That hail is coming back. Oh my gosh. Whoo, listen. Hold on. Hold on. Let's go back. But thou dost not leave off. So we know that hell coming back. That hell that Egypt had. Oh, he just listen. But thou dost not leave off treading my people underfoot. Behold, tomorrow, when the sun passes this point, whereat Moses made a stroke upon the wall, I will cause a very grievous hail to pour down, such as will be only once more when I annihilate Gog with hail, fire, and brimstone. Mm. But Yahuwah's loving kindness is so great that even in his wrath, he has mercy upon the wicked. And as his chief object was not to injure men and beasts, but to damage the vegetation in the fields of the Egyptians, he bade Moses admonish Pharaoh to send and hasten in his cattle and all that he had in the field. But the warning fell on heedless ears. Job was the only one to take it to heart, while Pharaoh and his people regarded not the word of Yahuwah. Therefore, Yahuwah let the hail smite both man and beast, instead of confining it to the herbs and the trees of the field, as he had intended from the first. Y'all see how they keep mentioning Job like Job was alive during this time. That part I haven't gone back to look at yet, but they keep mentioning Job's name, so I got to go look into that. Okay. As a rule, fire and water, I need to find out if it's the same Job, right? Because remember when Moses was in heaven and he was, the angel was showing him some stuff. He showed him the angel of death, and he said, "Where is he going now?" And the angel who was showing, I think it was Gabriel who was talking to Moses. Moses said, "Oh, okay, where is he going now?" He said he goes to fetch the soul of Job, the pious. So that's interesting. As a rule, fire and water are elements at war with each other, but in the hailstones that smote the land of Egypt, they were reconciled. Could it have been what these Egyptologists been saying about Nibiru planet is close to the Earth? It's possible. It's possible, Aliyah, because I be thinking about that. I see a lot of videos about this Nibiru planet and all this stuff, and people, like, there are pictures from people all over like YouTube and videos, and some people are freaking out. They seeing this stuff in the sky, and at first I was like, is this like Photoshop and stuff? Like, seriously, all these thoughts run through my mind. But then you have multiple people now. There are constant videos now that are being shown of what they're seeing in the western sky. I'm like, wait a minute, Father. Okay, if it's seen over there, we possibly should be able to see it over here. But then again, maybe not, right? So I be going outside, be checking, like, Father, what are they looking at? I said, is this true? I don't know what they're seeing, because I can't see it here in Chesapeake, Virginia. So, excuse me, I don't know. It could be, could not be. I don't really know about that. Like, a channel that shows a lot of that, because he lives on that side, is Rap the News. He has like a channel and like I think 4 different backup channels that he uploads the same video to every day with different accounts from different people and stuff. And he's talking about that. And he's even shown some stuff in the sky, like over his house, where it would seem to be over his house. He could walk outside and take videos of it and stuff. I'm like, this is really interesting, and it looks like it's something burning in the sky, and it looks like a couple videos, it's like lava dropping down from something. I'm like, this is really interesting. And then I started thinking, I'm like, okay, are these illusions in the sky? Is this the whole Project Blue Beam and stuff? Like, all that stuff be going through my mind. I'm like, Father, because I don't see any of that kind of stuff over here. Maybe this part of the United States is going to be the safe haven as people move, because it says in a couple other manuscripts, one specifically that I haven't mentioned up here yet, because I'm still checking into the authenticity of it. But it's a lot of stuff in it that really makes me wonder, right? But it also says something that the book says, like, at the end times that the righteous will begin to gather with the righteous, right? So it's going to be something major going on. And while people are being taken out all over the world, the righteous are going to find the other righteous, and we're going to kind of like huddle together, so they're going to be like different. I was about to choke. It was going to, spit went down the wrong pipe. Hold on. It's going to be like the righteous are going to be gathering with the righteous, like different safe havens, and not just here in America, but from what I understand, all over the world. Because remember, we're scattered to the 4 corners of the earth, so as these things are happening, like, I don't know it, but it's a lot of things that go through my mind. I'm just like, Father, what is this? Ali, I question him sometimes as well. Right, like, how is it they're the only ones that's seeing it? So that's why I'm like, okay, so if these people right here, they're the only ones that's seeing this over here, I said maybe it is something that the government is doing, like the Project Blue Beam and stuff, right? To where they're just seeing it over there. But then we see stuff coming from like I seen a couple things from India. I mean, I don't really know, y'all. And then I also thought about it. I said, could it be that they're seeing it over here? Because I don't know, maybe it's more simple there. Maybe it's gonna be like another Sodom and Gomorrah type thing over there. Because people are like freaking out with some of the videos, like, oh my gosh, what is that? Oh, get in the house, get in the house. And it's just been there, it's just like burning in the sky. What is this? So I mean, it looked like something out of a horror movie, what they're showing in these videos. Some of them, a lot of them that I see, they look genuine to me simply because of some of the chaos and people like stopping in the streets, everybody pulling out their phones and stuff. I'm like, okay, this seemed like something is happening for real, but we don't see it over here in the Eastern, on the East Coast, right? So I just gather the information. I just kind of set it aside while I'm putting other pieces. I'm like, Father, I really don't understand what's going on. Neither have I been over there. Now, I have some family members over there, like in California. And I sent him a couple messages. I was like, hey, is you seeing anything crazy over there? Because I'm seeing all these videos pop up. I don't even know if he's paying attention for real, because he's so busy with his work and what he's doing. I don't even know that he takes a chance to come up for air and just like observe what's going on in nature. But he said he hasn't seen anything. That's why it causes me to question sometimes. Not saying that what the people are saying is wrong. It could be happening. It could just be that Yahuwah's hand is on my family member that's over there, and it's just shielding him from all this stuff. It could be that. But you also have other people like the Ark who are over there in that area. Now they did mention like about the fires and how the smoke was changing the color of the sky, but some of this other stuff, like these phenomenons in the sky, they haven't mentioned that they've seen any of this. But when like the skies turn red from the smoke and stuff, that was like the only thing that they mentioned. So like some of these other things, I'm not exactly sure, y'all, and I cannot verify it to be the truth or a lie. I'm here on the East Coast. I don't know. And we don't see that in our sky over here, so yeah, some people do make it a living. Like fear is a major a very lucrative industry, so to speak, right? It really is, especially companies that sell end of the world paraphernalia. Get this now, get these seeds. The world is going to end in 2021. Get this, stored water. And let me tell you something. I used to be one of the ones that it's like, oh my gosh, we better prepare, like overly scared and prepared. But I tell you, once I started, like I can pinpoint it. Once I started reading the Old Testament and just really seeking Yah, it's like that wavering fear where I was tossed to and fro, it stopped and I became solid because I go to the Most High on everything. And even, listen, I had even told, I was talking to our house, so we were sitting here just talking one day, just talking about Yah, some of the things that we're finding out. I said, I am confident in this fact as of today. I am confident if a missile was shot over here in this neighborhood and we were still here, I am confident that if everything blew up around here, our house would be kept safe. I said either Yahuwah would tell us to go ahead of time or everything else would be on fire, but we would be kept safe. I am confident of that, right? And so we know that Yahuwah, he moves his people, say, okay, time to go, pack it up, let's roll out. But if destruction comes to the surrounding area, just think about Job. And Lot, he wasn't like all righteous like Abraham was, but Sodom and Gomorrah happened. Now he could have kept, now actually that it's like a twofold thing now, right? Because the city that Lot and his daughters ran to, it was supposed to be a part of the destruction, a part of the surrounding cities that got annihilated with Sodom and Gomorrah, right? But because of the prayers of his friend Abraham, Lot was saved, so all of it, that's an occasion to where when destruction was coming, he'll warn us and he'll warn our loved ones. Remember, Yahuwah is concerned about those things we care about. He's concerned about us, and he's also concerned about our household. Why? Because we love our family, we love our household. So he takes care. When his hand is upon us, his hand is upon our family as well. Just like with Job. So when he was about to destroy it, he said, listen, y'all got to get out of here. Abraham prayers the one up. The Most High has favored you. You got to get out of here. He said, and run as far as you can. He said, look, we can't run that fast. Let us go to the surrounding city. But this surrounding city was one of the ones that was supposed to be swept away. Remember, it was the city Zohar, but the city of Zohar, it was more new than the other surrounding cities that got destroyed. And it talked about it. It said it was should have been swept away with the rest of the surrounding cities and Sodom and Gomorrah, but seeing that their sin hadn't reached as high as the surrounding cities, but they were completely sinful through and through. They just hadn't been around long enough, so they weren't as sinful for as many years as these other ones had. He said, and because of that reason, he didn't destroy that. He allowed Lot and his daughters to go there. They eventually got destroyed though, but for that particular time, it became a safe haven for Job, while everything else was destroyed. So that's what I feel now. People prepare next week. Everybody think complete chaos is gonna break out next week with the inauguration and stuff. It possibly could. Like, it's military, National Guard everywhere, and I had stopped looking at it for a couple of days, right? Because I was really getting into the Book of Remembrance, and also with tax season coming up, a lot of studying and training that I'm doing. I didn't really have time, so I got a couple of videos yesterday. I was like, oh snap! Like, they really preparing for this. Like, people going to the stores cleaning out the shelves again because they don't know what's gonna happen. I'm just like, I'm confident in this, y'all, that you're gonna take care of us. We don't know how to reproduce just yet, the miracles, like if we run out of water, we don't really know just yet how that's done. But I'm confident of the fact, now that I understand some stuff, especially now from the Book of Remembrance, how it's supposed to be a normal part of our lives, that the holy angels are supposed to be here helping us, interacting with us daily. I said, I'm sure I have enough information that if we needed to produce a miracle down here, I'm confident enough now that you will hear us. So we prepare what we can. And you just don't have to put the super on our natural. What we can't do, we just have to trust the Most High. But we're going to be okay, right? He keeps those who keeps his command. So, okay, let me get back to the reading, y'all. But yeah, I got off on that because we was talking about what they're seeing in the western sky over in like the West Coast, and we not seeing it here. We don't know if it's true or if it's not true. Yeah, so. Okay, as a rule, fire and water are elements at war with each other. But in the hailstones that smote the land of Egypt, they were reconciled. As fire rested in the hailstones, as the burning wick swims in the oil of a lamp, the surrounding fluid cannot extinguish the flame. The Egyptians were smitten either by hail or by fire. In the one case, as the other, their flesh was seared, and the bodies of the many that were slain by the hail were consumed by the fire. The hailstones heaped themselves up like a wall, so that the carcasses of the slain beasts could not be removed. And if the people succeeded in dividing the dead animals and carrying off their flesh, the birds of prey would attack them on their way home and snatch their prize away. But the vegetation in the field suffered even more than man and beast, for the hail came down like an axe upon the trees and broke them, that the wheat and the spelt were not crushed. That the wheat and the spelt were not crushed was a miracle. Now, at last, Pharaoh acknowledged and said, Yahuwah is righteous, and I and my people are wicked. He was righteous when he bade us hasten in our cattle before the hail, and I and my people were wicked, for we heeded not his warning, and men and beasts were found in the field by the hail and slain. And again he begged Moses to supplicate Yahuwah in his behalf, and he turned the plague away, and he promised to let the children of Israel go. Moses consented to do his will by saying, however, think not that I do not know what will happen after this plague is stayed. I know that thou and thy servants, ye will fear Yahuwah once his punishment is removed, as ye fear, I know that thou and thy servants, ye will fear Yahuwah once his punishment is removed, as little as ye feared him before. But to show his greatness, I will pray to him to make the hail cease. Moses went a short distance out of the city from Pharaoh and spread abroad his hands unto Yahuwah, for he did not desire to pray to Yahuwah within, where there were many idols and images. At once, the hail remained suspended in the air. Part of it dropped down while Joshua was engaged with battle with the Amorites, and the rest Yahuwah would send down in his fury against Gog. Also, the thunders ceased at Moses' intercession and were stored up for a time later, for they were the noise which Yahuwah made the host of the Syrians to hear at the siege of Samaria, wherefore they arose and fled in the twilight. As Moses had foreseen, and you read the Bible, you remember reading that part. As Moses had foreseen, so it happened. No sooner had the hail stopped than Pharaoh abandoned his resolve and refused to let Israel go. Moses lost no time in announcing the eighth plague to him, the plague of the locusts. Observing that his words had made an impression upon the king's counselors, he turned and went out from Pharaoh to give them the opportunity of discussing the matter among themselves. And indeed, his servants urged Pharaoh to let the Israelites go and serve Yahuwah their God. But again, when Moses insisted that the whole people must go, the young and the old, the sons and the daughters, Pharaoh demurred, saying, I know it to be customary for young men and old men to take part in sacrifices, but surely not the little children. And when you demand their presence too, you betray your evil purpose. But it is a pretense. You're saying that you will go 3 days' journey into the wilderness and then return. You mean to escape and never come back. I will have nothing more to do with the matter. My God, Baal Zephon, will oppose you in the way and hinder you on your journey. And who do we know now Baal Zephon to be, right? It's the Decadar Choi, the demons, the evil spirits who Pharaoh and his magicians are working with. It literally is power against power. It's Yahuwah and the holy Hayat, the holy angels, against Pharaoh, who is using the forces of the fallen angels to do all his magic, right? My God, Beelzephon will oppose you in a way and hinder you on your journey. Pharaoh's last words were a dim presentment. As a magician, he foresaw that on their going forth from Egypt, the children of Israel would find themselves in desperate straits before the sanctuary of Beelzephon. Pharaoh was not content with merely denying the request preferred by Moses and Aaron. He ordered them to be forcibly expelled from the palace. Then Yahuwah sent the plague of the locusts announced by Moses before. They ate every herb of the land and all the fruit of the trees that the hail had left, and there remained not any green thing. And again, Pharaoh sent for Moses and Aaron to ask for their forgiveness, both for his sin against Yahuwah in not having hearkened unto his word, and for his sin against them in having chased them forth and intended to curse them. Moses, as before, prayed to Yahuwah in behalf of Pharaoh, and his petition was granted. The plague was taken away, and in a rather surprising manner. When the swarms of locusts began to darken the land, the Egyptians caught them and preserved them in brine as a dainty to be eaten. Remember, locusts are actually clean and you can keep them. So if Yahuwah does bring the plague of locusts back, and some of y'all find yourself with them on your property, remember, they can be saved. They're clean and they can be eaten. I'm just saying. I probably ain't gonna eat no locusts because I'm plant based, but I'm plant based. I'm eating the herbs of the field. But I'm just saying, for those of you that I'm okay, y'all get it. When the swarms of locusts had began to darken the land, the Egyptians caught them and preserved them in brine as a dainty to be eaten. Now Yahuwah turned an exceeding strong west wind, which took up the locusts and drove them into the Red Sea. Even those they were keeping in their pots flew up and away, and they had none of the expected profit. The last plague but one, like those which had preceded it, endured 7 days. All the time the land was enveloped in darkness, only it was not sure when they desired to do so. If they were sitting down, they could rise up, and if they were standing, they could sit down. On the fourth, fifth, and sixth days, the darkness was so dense that they could not stir from their place. Ooh, and the Bible only tells us about the first, well, no, It tells us about 3 of the days, but here it clearly say it was dark more than 3, right? Listen. During the first 3, let me just go back up here. The last plague, but one, like those which had preceded it, endured 7 days. All the time the land was enveloped in darkness. So it was 7 days the land was dark. Only it was not of the same degree of density. During the first 3 days, it was not so thick, but that the Egyptians could change their posture when they desired to do so. If they were sitting down, they could rise up, and if they were standing, they could sit down. On the fourth, fifth, and sixth days, the darkness was so dense that they could not stir from their place. They either sat the whole time or stood as they were at the beginning, so they remained until the end. The last day of darkness overtook the Egyptians, not in their own land, but at the Red Sea on their pursuit of Israel. The darkness was not the ordinary earthly kind, it came from hell, and it could be felt. It was as thick as a dinar, and all the time it prevailed a celestial light brightened the dwellings of the children of Israel, whereby they could see what the Egyptians were doing under the cover of darkness. This was of great advantage to them, for when they were about to go forth from the land, and they asked their neighbors to lend them raiment and jewels of gold and jewels of silver for the journey, the Egyptians tried to deny having any in their possession, but the children of Israel, having spied out their treasures during the days of darkness, could describe the objects they needed with accuracy and designated their hiding places. Ain't that something? The Most High is amazing. Remember, we learned about this celestial light. This celestial light is sort of how the prophets are able to see, right? It allowed the celestial light, which was a part of us. It was literally just like we breathe normally. That celestial light was a gift Yahuwah had given us that we lost. It should have been a part of our everyday life, but he removed it when Adam and Eve sinned. And throughout time, he allowed the prophets to use it to be able to see at different periods of time and what he reveals to them, right? So this is what happened during the 3. It said right here during this week of darkness that they had, it was 6 right there in the land. The first 3 weren't that dark. The next 3, it was dark, like hell type dark, the dark that you can feel type dark, like oh my God, like your skin crawling dark, right? It was that dark. And the last dark day they felt out at the Red Sea. During this time, while it was dark and they couldn't move or do anything, like it's so thick that like you almost suspended where you're at. Like if that darkness came and you was like this, that's how you stayed till the darkness left, because it was so thick you couldn't move. That's what it said, right? Imagine that. Imagine having to hold your whatever you did for them days. Imagine the fright and terror that was over you, where you're like suspended in the darkness that's so thick you can't move. Now, a lot of times, naturally, when people get scared, imagine being stuck in that and not even being able to cover your eyes and your ears. I used to go through this thing when I was younger. I had the spirit of fear in me because I grew up watching scary movies. I was sneaking watching them and I shouldn't have been. But notice when people get afraid, they normally try, it's like this natural movement where we go to protect ourselves, right? Or think about the boogeyman. You land in your bed, you think something's gonna touch your feet. You snatch your feet up and you pull the covers over your head. You try to do something to cover your eyes and your ears, or like do like this. Imagine being that and not even being able to at least do that, at least cover your ears, right? Oh, and what it didn't say nothing was moving through it, but just imagine if something was moving through that darkness and you suspended and you can't do nothing. Boy, if that darkness come back, I don't know what to tell y'all, but I just know we're gonna have a celestial light. But during this time, Yahuwah gave the celestial. It said that the children of Israel had the celestial light with them, and they could see. And not only could they see, they had light, but they were able to see what was happening in the darkness. It's like you can see it. The spirit realm is opened up, and you can see. That's how they saw their treasures, and they saw exactly where it was hidden. I'm gonna read it again. Okay. The darkness was not of the ordinary earthly kind. It came from hell, and it could be felt. It was as thick as a dinar, and all the time it prevailed. A celestial light brightened the dwellings of the children of Israel, whereby they could see what the Egyptians were doing under the cover of darkness. This was of great advantage to them, for when they were about to go forth from the land, and they asked their neighbors to lend them raiment and jewels of gold and jewels of silver for the journey, the Egyptians tried to deny having any in their possession. But the children of Israel, having spied out all their treasures during the days of darkness, could describe the objects they needed with accuracy and designate their hiding places. The Egyptians reasoned that the words of the Israelites could be taken implicitly as they spoke them. For if they had any idea of deceiving them, asking for a loan when they intended to keep what they laid hands on, they might have taken unobserved days during the days of darkness, whatever they desired. Hence, the Egyptians felt no hesitation in leading the children of Israel, all lending all the children of Israel all the treasures they asked for. The darkness was of such a nature that it could not be dispelled by artificial means. The light of the fire kindled for household uses was either extinguished by the violence of the storm, or else it was made invisible and swallowed up in the density of the darkness. Let me read that again. Hold on. That celestial light coming back for us. That's how we're going to walk away with their riches in our cap. Is that how you're asking? Is that how? I definitely believe it's a part of it. The celestial light. Yahuwah said he was going to return that to us. Like how the prophet, like I just said, like how the prophets see. I'm not sure if y'all any prophets up here, but when Yahuwah reveals something or shows you something, it could be in a dream or a vision. But some prophets, they're actually able to see with clear vision. They're few and far between right now, because it's not too many that are willing to give themselves to the degree of sacrifice that it takes to carry those gifts tangibly all the time, right? I strive to be that. I really do. I really strive. I got many years to go before, but I'm like, Father, if nobody else to do it, I'll do it. Just help a sister. I know I'm a woman. I was like, but I'll be obedient. You just got to help me along the way. Teach me. I know sometimes, I play too much, but just help me, So, but if nobody else will go, I'll go. Father, send me, right? You just got to help a sister along the way and train me, Listen, the darkness was of such a nature that it could not be dispelled by artificial means. The light of the fire kindled for household uses was either extinguished by the violence of the storm, or else it was made invisible and swallowed up in the density of the darkness. Sight, that most indispensable of all external senses, though unimpaired, was deprived of its office, for nothing could be discerned, and all other senses were overthrown like subjects whose leader had fallen. Like they weren't able to use any of their senses during this time. Like it's like all their senses left them when the darkness took over. Ooh, imagine people who give themselves over to the Dekadar Choi or to evil spirits or to demons. It's like that's like what it is. Matter of fact, it explains some of the fallen in here, the fallen ones, who it tells you how like the offspring, they were like so violent and evil because they did not carry the light of Yahuwah on the inside of them. Good morning, Miss Sheila. That it was like they were complete darkness on the inside, and it was like they were how I understood it from reading it yesterday. They had no light in their soul. That's what that mixture of what the fallen angels and some of the humans that they mix with, that's what their offspring created. And it says there is no recourse for them. Like there is nothing in them that could be saved. That's why they can't repent. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like it was heartbreaking to know this and to know you had given birth to a child who's now they they got a soul, but they don't have the light of Yah in them. And like they can't be it's like they can't be it's impossible for them to be redeemed. And it goes into deep. That's why I say, y'all, please, y'all gotta get this book, you know, and you go into the details. So now you can understand how some people can be so evil. It's like this darkness that it's talking about here on the days of darkness. That's a darkness that's always present on the inside of them. Like there literally is no light on the inside of them. I got a whole nother understanding of that. Like some people that are evil, they very well could be the offspring. Like if like I don't know, and I pray that I never meet anybody like that. Maybe you guys are running, but we've seen it on movies. Like they're completely overtaken and possessed. Like there is no like, it's not even a light. Somebody that used to be there and that's fallen into the sunken place, and the demon has taken over. It's like all of that light is completely extinguished. There is no more you. There is complete darkness, and that is scary. Yahuwah said that is unredeemable because there is no soul there. They move and they operate, but there is no light from the Most High in them. And that made my skin crawl reading that. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, people better quit freaking playing with dark forces. I'm like, y'all don't know what y'all getting yourselves into. Oh, bro, it's just making my skin crawl. Now I'm thinking about that. Like, I'm like, oh, Father, please. Like, y'all, if y'all playing around with stuff that could take over your soul and dabbling into drugs and things where you're opening up gates to evil, y'all don't know what y'all are playing with. Yeah, they're demons. They were cursed by the Most High due to the fact that they didn't want to bow down to Adam after. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it gives that story in here at the beginning. We read some of that, but okay, y'all, let me hurry up. We are at 121. I'm almost done reading this, and we're going to have to read this next section about Passover tomorrow. Okay, listen. The darkness was of such a nature that it could not be dispelled by artificial means. The light of fire kindled for household uses was either extinguished by the violence of the storm, or else it was made invisible and swallowed up in the density of the darkness. Sight, that most indispensable of all external senses, though unimpaired, was deprived of its office, for nothing could be discerned, and all of the other senses were overthrown like subjects whose leader has fallen. None was able to speak or hear, nor could anyone venture to take food, but they laid themselves down in quiet and hunger, their outward senses in a trance. Thus they remained overwhelmed by the affliction until Moses had compassion on them again and besought Yahuwah in their behalf, who granted him the power of restoring fine weather, light instead of darkness, and day instead of night. Whew, bless the Most Holy. Intimidated by this affliction, Pharaoh permitted to let the people go, and the little ones as well as the men and women. Only he asked that they let their flocks and their herds be stayed. But Moses said, as thou livest, our cattle also shall go with us. Yea, but if a hoof of an animal belongs to an Israelite, the beast shall not be left behind in Egypt. This speech exasperated Pharaoh to such a degree that he threatened Moses with death in the day that he should see his face again. And that's when Moses said, as you wish, you will never see my face again. At this moment, Yahuwah appeared to Moses and bade him to inform Pharaoh of the infliction of the last plague, the slaying of the firstborn. It was the first and the last time Yahuwah revealed himself in the royal palace. He chose the residence of Pharaoh on this occasion that Moses might not be branded as a liar, for he had replied to Pharaoh's threat of killing him if he saw his face again with the words, "Thou hast spoken well. I will see thy face no more." With a loud voice, Moses proclaimed the last plague, closing his announcement with the words, "And all these thy servants shall come down unto me and bow themselves to me, saying, Get thee out, and all thy people follow thee. And after that, I will go out." Moses knew well enough that Pharaoh himself would come and urge him to lead forth Israel with great haste. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, y'all. Come on. He gotta know, son. Sorry, y'all. He gotta know, right? I'm doing a video. I'm almost done. I got like two more sentences. Sorry. Moses knew well enough that Pharaoh himself would come and urge him to lead Israel forward with a with as great haste as possible, but he mentioned only the servants of the king and not the king himself, because he never forgot the respect due to a ruler. Man, so that's something right there. Y'all remember that. Out of everything we just read, remember all of that, but also this, right? What Moses, and also remember how Moses, he addressed Pharaoh, and that's something that I see lacking with our people. Yahuwah talked to Moses early on about the respect due to leaders, and let me tell y'all this because I've seen some of our people doing it, even with our current president in office. They are saying all manner of craziness out their mouths against them. Remember, all who are in leadership are set there by Yahuwah, whether they be righteous or whether they be wicked. We are not to show dishonor to a ruler, to a leader, whether they're our people or anyone else. And you will notice the common theme that runs through the scriptures, even if you only have the holy book that's comprised of the 66 books, you will never, ever, ever, ever see one of Yahuwah's servants, one of his prophets, um, being disrespectful to a leader that Yahuwah has sent them to. It doesn't matter if it was a heathen king like King Nebuchadnezzar. You never once saw Daniel be disrespectful to him. Even the 3 Hebrew boys, he said, don't you ever forget the respect due to leaders. So I'm telling y'all, if y'all have ever done this, y'all need to repent. If y'all have ever shown disrespect to any president, leader, ruler, boss, your husband, your wives, whoever, anybody in positions of leadership, if you have ever spoken against them, you are in the wrong. You need to repent. And if you're in a position where you can go apologize to them, you need to do that, because that is something big with Yahuwah. He said, don't you ever forget the respect due to a ruler, whether it be of your own people or to a heathen nation. Do not ever disrespect them. He said, because I set them there. And when you do that, you disrespect the Most High. When I got that down in my shanana, it made me shake. But I learned that while I was in the military. I learned that type of respect while I was in the military. So as I would read through the scriptures, I understood that, right? And so I never, even we may not agree with some of our leaders and some of the things that they do, and they go directly against what we believe they need to be doing. Don't you ever speak against that person in leadership, because you'll find yourself in trouble with the Most High. And if you found yourself in a place where you seem to be stagnant, and you love the Most High, and you're doing what you need to do, but you find yourself stagnant, I can almost guarantee you, if you've been flat out your mouth, whether the leader heard you or not, or you spoke it within yourself or within the walls of your house or to your family about the leader, you will find that you are in trouble. My dear friends, brothers and sisters, you have spoken against something that Yahuwah said no one should ever speak against, right? And you need to repent. You need to consider your ways. That's probably what has happened. Once you check everything else, I see a lot of our people. They bring good information, waking up our people on the different channels and stuff. Some of them, they got awesome. They got good information, but they speak about our current president like, and every time I hear it, I cringe. I was like, Father, they don't know what they're doing. I said, and they're speaking. I'm not saying that everything the leader does is right or that yes, and that is not my place. That is not my place. I know what the Most High said, and if I feel like if He ever gonna use me, I better stay away from that. I pray for those in leadership, whether I agree with them or whether not. But you would not see me dishonoring the office of rulership. I don't care what level they are. Whether it's my husband, and I teach my children what, like Bella came in here, she tried to, what did dad say? I know dad didn't say, what did dad say? He said, wait, okay, back it up out the kitchen, and I will uphold the ruling of leadership. I don't care what you say. That's just something that's in me. It was taught, and I keep it because it'll help me keep my life, right? And it will do well for us to teach our families that, right? And so I just wanted to bring that out because I see a lot of videos with our people. They're doing that, and it makes me cringe. It makes my heart break because they don't realize they're putting themselves in a line of fire with the Most High Himself directly. Let me just read this again. Moses knew well enough that Pharaoh himself would come and urge him to lead Israel forth with great haste as soon as possible, but he mentioned only to the servants of the king and not the king himself because he never forgot the respect due to a ruler. All right, y'all. So that's it for today. That's it. That's it. That's it. And that also goes for those in church leadership. I may talk about their shenanigans and stuff. And even a couple that I sat under with shenanigans, I know I called out shenanigans, but I never spoke against them. I was like, well, we're gonna respectfully leave, and may the Most High cause this place to repent. And but even today, if I speak to some of them, I will still address them appropriately and according to their office. Even if I don't believe they should be in the office, if they're still there, I will respect them and I will speak to them according to their office. I really will. You will never find me disrespecting leadership. Don't do it, people. Do not do it. And if you have done it, you need to repent, like post haste, like yesterday. Like you need to do that like right now. Okay. So with that being said, beautiful people, I hope y'all enjoyed the reading for today. It is January 18, 2021, Monday, day 54 of year 3 of reading through the books of the law and prophets. Day 723. We read Exodus 34, 35, and 36. And then the Legends of the Jews, we read page 236 to 239. All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and do the blessing so we get about our day. And I'm sorry, I know kind of went over the time. Ooh, yes. I got to get work started, and I bless the Most High that the kids stayed up there for the most part. All right, so I can get through the reading. Okay, y'all. Remember, the blessing is found in Numbers chapter 6, verses 22 through 27. Remember, the first 21 verses is the Nazarite vow. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his son, saying, On this wise ye shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, May Yahuwah bless us and keep us. May Yahuwah make his face to shine upon us and be gracious unto us. May Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon us and give us his peace. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. All right, beautiful people. I think that's it. Right. Yep. Pharaoh's mouth sealed his own people destruction. Okay. All right, beautiful people. That's it. We gotta go. I'll see y'all tomorrow morning, bright and early, 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember, Monday through Friday is 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The start time, if it's the weekend, Saturday or Sunday, we start 15 minutes later. So we start at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And whatever day the Sabbath falls on, that day we rest. So if you come here one day and say, hey, you're not doing a video today, it's possibly the Sabbath, because we're learning about the Sabbath and how it doesn't rotate, but it rotates according to the Gregorian calendar, just like our birthdays and all the other holidays on the calendar. They rotate throughout the week. It's maybe Monday this day and Tuesday the next year. That's how the Sabbath, when you're on a Gregorian calendar, the Sabbath must rotate as well. Although it's fixed on Yahuwah's calendar on the 7th day every single week, because we're using a different calendar with rotating days and dates, Yahuwah's Sabbath must also rotate in order to keep it appropriately on the right days. And the moon can kind of guide us that, because every time the moon is at a quarter, it is a Sabbath day. The moon at the first quarter is a Sabbath. The first quarter is the first Sabbath. The full moon is like the second quarter of the they don't call it the second quarter, they call it the full moon. But the full moon is the second quarter, and it too is a Sabbath. 7 days later, we're at the third quarter. The other half of the moon is full. That is another Sabbath. And then you start over with the new moon. So just like that, Yahuwah puts everything in nature what we can see and what we can understand. All right, y'all. Love you. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. I'll see y'all in the morning. Peace.